what the EC is undertaking at present to drive EMEA further. So with COVID-19, a lot of things have changed, like we are now in an online conference and we have a lot of webinars, etc. This is the entire agenda of what I want to go through with you. Couple of words on the EMEA Executive Committee, then what is our visions for 2025, so what we want to reach in the next 4 or 5 years. We have allocated certain roles and responsibilities to the EMEA executive members. I also want to give you some hints about our interactions outside of the EMEA community, then introducing where we're standing with the market data analysis, and last but not least, the proposed changes in our corporate setup and constitution, and also give you some hints why we feel that is necessary. Despite all changes in COVID, etc., some things never change, and that is our antitrust statement, which I wish to read out to you right from the beginning. So EMEA recognizes the importance of compliance with those antitrust laws, and they are applicable to all EMEA members. These laws, as you can read here, generally prohibit underwriters from entering into any agreements, understandings, or concerted practices between competitors which limit or control production markets, technical development, etc., boycott potential customers or suppliers, engage in a tying arrangement, share markets or sources of supply. All these may be anti-competitive in various jurisdictions, and therefore it is and continues to be EMEA's policy that we require all our members, offices, and all participants in any of EMEA activities to honor and abide by these prohibitions in all respects. And unless I get any objections, I take it that this is agreed by everybody attending this conference. So, what is changing? Olivier was kind enough now to introduce me to you, and I must say I'm stepping into these big footsteps. So I just got a message that my screen was not shared anymore. Can anybody give me a hint, feedback, if it's still there?
Stephan, I can see your screen.
Yeah, I can see it,
okay.
Stephan.
Thank you. So the challenge is the big O's. The big O's, like Oscar in 2018 Singapore, handing over to Olivier. And you can see how much they enjoyed this handover, and always enjoyed the conferences and being there, seeing you live, being present. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank Olivier again for everything that he did since the Singapore conference as a chairman of EMEA, and want to tell you as well that in appreciation of Olivier's great efforts and commitment to EMEA as a chairman, the EC has agreed unanimously that Olivier is elected as a fellow member of EMEA, so he can stay with us even for longer, and gratefully also take over a couple of works and working groups statements. I'm not asking Olivier now to reconfirm, he's already done that before, but maybe after the speech, Olivier can just tell that to the entire audience. But as I said, big footsteps in front of me, great conferences in very pleasant places, and then comes 2020, and we are in an online conference. Well, that's it. So we have to cope with all these challenges. It seems that EMEA is still gaining more momentum. And for this, I just want to show you where we're standing with our memberships and delegates. Just very briefly, you can see on the left side 2018, and on the right side now 2020. Whilst the number of members, being the corporations, the companies, or associations, seems to be very stable and didn't change, you can see a pretty good increase in the number of delegates, and especially on the association side. And that just indicates to me that those who are members of IMIA find it quite interesting, find it very helpful, and therefore are supporting it with even more delegates to our association. So the number of delegates increased from 150 to more than 180 now in 2020. And also the initiation that we want to get more members from various countries and continents seems to take place. As you can see, Europe is, sorry, I'm still getting information here.
Your presentation is fine, just moving a bit slow, but we can see your, your screen.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, it's Murphy's Law. Always happens when you don't really need it, that the computer starts updating your software. So what's the EC? Here you can see the EC members, the secretariat, and also regional representation. What has happened since the last conference? We continued, despite the Corona and all the challenges we had in the market, with 2 further newsletters. We had bi-weekly telecons with the secretariat and the chairman, and Max as our treasurer. We held 7 EC meetings since to prepare all of this, and we had a lot of ad hoc decisions to make on account of the situation we're in. We exchanged some 1,400 emails during that time, so you can see that the EC was very, very active during the time. We introduced a standard agenda and action log for our EC meetings. We developed a conference preparation list. We tested about 5 online communication providers to make sure that this webinar or this online conference really works the best way we can actually offer it. And now we are holding our first virtual annual conference online. That also means that the presidency stays with Ireland until next year, when we hopefully can have not an online but a presence conference again in Dublin. On that occasion, I also want to thank Emeas, who demonstrated utmost flexibility in their support and agreed that we can postpone our next conference in Singapore then for another year. And last but not least, the IMIA Academy, we also needed to shift to next year, but we are offering selected courses as webinars to those who have already registered. Right, so as you can see, the EC, very educated professional people, but sometimes it all looked a bit different during the Corona times, and these are the snapshots taken from our online EC meetings. What is the EC planning to do? So this vision is also on the web page, so I want to keep it very short. Actually, we have the firm intention to be the reference organization for all engineering standardization matters, so that institutions, whosoever, can always refer to IMIA as setting the standards of what engineering matters are about. Very important, and this will fill a big chunk of our presentation today, is we want to be more data driven. We want to produce high quality stats and indices, and we have undertaken a lot of things to get that really with full thrust being done. And thanks to Dieter and Simon, who will present then later the outcome of it, we've really achieved a lot here. Online presence, yeah, we want to also be more present on the web. And thankfully, this is giving us the first great occasion to do so, but we will be offering more webinars and more courses on academies, etc., in the future as well. Getting more global, that we already talked about, and first steps are being done, but we also want to tackle those further white spots that we have. We also want to get more diversified, bringing in different people, different gender, different ages, etc., and encourage memberships to everybody. Outside our community, we want to enforce cooperations and partnerships with others, like with Slack, Mira, etc. Coming back to this one. And we want to get more influential through visibility and conspicuousness by our online presence, by our PR activities, press and media. Our big objective being brokers citing IMIA in their publications as a reference organization. And I think first good achievements have been done here as well, as I can show you in short. This is how we have split up the tasks within the IMIA EC. So we have people dedicated for the conference, for the academy, looking after the media, launching press articles, etc. Especially dedication to data analytics and the entire administration of this. And then, of course, the entire task around management, administration, financials, etc. You can see in yellow highlighted those EC members who are looking into this. We also agreed that we will and can introduce subcommittees, every department on its own, to get support. And I'm hopeful that IMIA members will support our activities here. Interactions, as I said, we already started first communications, LAC very prominent, also with Mira, but we want to get more into interaction with IUMI, with IUA, etc., so that we can exchange on data, have common working groups, as we're already experiencing with one working group now, and see where we have complementary tasks and strategies. EMEA stats, as I said, this will fill the big part of our conference and was also big, most of the discussions and work that we had in the past, other than what we already always doing with working groups and academies. We have introduced a couple of new stats, but we continue and we agreed to continue also with the already historical premium and claim statistics. And you can also see that we introduced a couple of abbreviations which we will use in the future, but I'm sure Simon Dieter will come back to that one. So in addition, we added now the ILORI, the IMIA loss ratio index. We added the rate change index already in 2016, and I think that was very helpful and already one proof that we are getting cited by others, because it seems that very much on our IMIA analysis, other analyses were based in different presentations. And then last but not least, we also have now the IMIA Mega Loss Index, a list of large losses, and the colleagues will introduce you to them in one of the next sessions. Right, why are we doing this? Because we think that IMIA is there to provide market intelligence. Like if you look into developing your strategies and you wonder what is my market share, then you would actually need to know how big is the market in total. And that's why we're having our premiums and claims statistics. If you want to know how you're performing in comparison to the market, then you would actually need to know what's the market loss ratio. And that's why we got the ILORI now. If somebody asks you, what is your strategy? Then you need to know what's changing in the market and how does the market develop. So here we are with our rate change index so that you can adapt to the current status of the market. And what losses and changes happen in the industry and what you need to get prepared for. Here, IMIA gives you the answers with our major mega loss index, the working group papers, and the webinars. So that's why we feel that IMIA is a bit like a diamond, and like diamonds, its value is also characterized by the 4 C's. So with diamonds is cut, clarity, color, and carats. With IMIA, it's contribution, cooperation, consistency, and change. So let's keep that in mind. When we talk IMIA, it's as precious as a diamond to our industry. Now we're coming to a very, very important part. The already announced and proposed change of the company status. The background of it is that we entered into a couple of contracts to enable us to actually do the data analytics. And as you know, right from the beginning, we said compliance, governance, antitrust is very important for IMIA. So we needed to get independent companies to support us and do the analytics for us. So for this, we are proposing to change the company status from an unregistered unlimited company into a registered and limited by guarantee, according to the Companies Act 2006. And we would also propose to introduce respective amendments to the Constitution or then the Articles of Association, being a company not having a share capital and but liability being limited by the members or to the members to £1 each, having memberships and delegates as we are having them right now, also spelled out in the articles. EC members will become directors. We also introduced a chapter for the voting rights for the delegates and a couple of administrative arrangements being necessary now. All that was actually summarized and summed up in our pre-read. When you registered for the conference, you saw this the possibility to download the pre-reading material, being the actual changes which are proposed and also the new articles. By this, I would now like to hand over and ask Mike to step in to give us a bit more insights into the changes of what this company limited by guarantee will bring about. Mike, can you join in, please?
Yes, okay. Thank you, Stephan. The change in status will not, in fact, change the association in its basic aims. The reason we're doing this is, well, to go back, IMIA is an association that was created more than 50 years ago, and it was a very loose arrangement. Basically, our existing situation is we are a bunch of individuals that have decided to get together, and as a consequence of that, under English law, our liability is unlimited. We felt that you as members should have a system whereby your liabilities are capped, because after all, we are quite ambitious in what we want to do. We want to be able to issue statistics, working papers, lots of things to improve our industry. And this could, we don't think it does, but we think it could expose us to certain liabilities. So by creating this company under English law, which is a not-for-profit company. It's called a not-for-profit company, but we remain an association of members. And the basic membership rules, the voting arrangements, how the EC works with the members, all that will not change. Our core values of providing best practice for the industry remains exactly as it is. The only thing is you will have to register, we will have to register your names in Companies House in the UK, and your directors must be proper people under English law. So there are slight differences. We will probably have to slightly modify how we present our accounts and how we maintain documents to be in line with the 2006 Act. But basically, I think this is an essential change which comes with the modern times that we live in, where our legal liabilities, the legal framework in which we operate is no longer the same as it was 50 years ago. So I think it's very important that, and hopefully everyone will agree, that we need to vote this a change today. Thank you, Stephan.
Thanks, Mike. As we said, the detailed changes, etc., are on the web page. You can still download them. They're in the registration area. And we will have a poll on a vote on this, whether you give us the approval to proceed with the change right before the break. And then that would still give you a bit of time to go through it, or after my session now, after the Simons and Dieter session, we will also have a bit of a question time. So that will also allow you to pose questions about this subject then. So thanks again, Mike, helpful. And with this, I need to click back into the slides. With this, I would now like to continue with our conference program. And